Thank you for joining us this afternoon. My name is Katherine Foster. I am the Executive Director of the Green Digital Finance Alliance, and we are very happy partners of the UNFCCC Global Innovation Hub. Very happy to be here today. And I'm here on this very exciting panel to talk about the Every Action Counts Coalition. But first, I just want to tell you a little bit about GDFA, which is a not-for-profit think-do tank based in Switzerland. And we focus on transformative digital financial innovation for climate and sustainable development. And last year, we had a very exciting launch of the Every Action Counts Coalition. I am very excited to invite some of the members of the coalition with us here today. And we have, sorry, I'm very bad with names. We have Malane Berge, the Global Head of Sustainability and Innovation at MasterCard. And we have also Jeffrey Otham from the Senior Director of Sustainability from Delivery Hero. And Emma van de Ven, Research and Strategy Lead at ACORN, which is with Rabobank. And Antoni Balabriga, Global Head of Responsible Business at BBVA. And last but not least, Gerrit Sindermann, who is the Director of the Every Action Counts Coalition. And I'm going to hand it over to Gerrit to tell you a little bit more about the EAC and the activities.
Thanks, Katherine, and also warm welcome from my side. We're very happy to have some of our members here today. So the Every Action Counts Coalition is a network of large platforms, digital finance, e-commerce, that we have convened last year around a joint pledge to empower 1 billion people around the globe by 2025 with green transparency and actions. And actually we also overlooked one participant who we hopefully also get on the screen shortly. That is Jason Pao from Ant Group. He's a senior director. And unfortunately he couldn't join in person, but therefore he's even bigger on screen. Hi, Jason. And we will shortly also give the word to you. But about the Every Action Counts Coalition. So it was basically started from the belief that the big platforms and corporations can not only work on their own footprint and impact, but that they have also the tremendous potential to actually help consumers, people, smallholder farmers around the globe to better understand the impact of their actions on climate, on nature, and also to equip them with the right tools to do something about it. So that's also where the name came from Every Action Counts. It's very much about collaboration. So, started last year. We are regularly convening the members, making sure that, for example, best practice and carbon accounting, carbon tracking is being shared, and more this will be also going into an open platform where we invite more partners to join. And as today, we are also regularly looking to share the insights and about the work so that also others can actually benefit from it and to really make it a joint effort. And that is also, could you please go on the next slides actually? So one slide further. And so this was actually more on the background of the EAC. So it's 14 large platforms from around the globe. We're covering almost any continent. Latin America not yet covered, but soon. The topics I explained already. So next slide, please. And so today at COP, we're also very proud to announce the launch of the Green Digital Practices Guidebook that summarizes and shares a few highlight snapshots of the member work, and some of which we will get presented here briefly. And then we'll also, at the beginning of next year, make this actually an open initiative where we put it online and then invite also more people, organizations, experts from around the globe to also join and actually contribute also their best practices and projects. So, and with that, giving it over to the panelists. So we will go in alphabetical order for the companies. So, passing it over to Emma from ACORN and focus on smallholder farmers. Please.
All right, thank you, Gerrit. I will stand up so I can watch the screen with you. Good to meet you. If we can go to the next slide. That's me, a lot bigger. One slide further, please. So before I dive into what ACORN does, I knew you wouldn't be able to see the text below, so I'm going to point at it. What we found as a big issue for one of the biggest clients that Rabobank has, which is farmers, is, well, the problems that come with monoculture agriculture. So depleting soils, diminishing yields on the farmland, very sensitive to climate change, and we saw that as an issue as a bank, on behalf of Rabobank, that we have to take care of. Now, it's hard to find a solution for these types of issues that doesn't include, well, a lot of investments to go to a much more climate resilient solution. And so what we are looking at with ACORN, which is a program within Rabobank, is how to move from this monoculture to regenerative agroforestry. Now, if you look at agroforestry, it does sequester a lot more carbon, and so for us, carbon has been one of the key solutions with which we can help finance that transition to a more regenerative agricultural use. So if you can go to the next slide. What we've done to help give access to carbon payments for ecosystem services for smallholder farmers, we basically as a bank went outside of our comfort zone. We partnered with Plan Vivo Foundation, who is a certifier in the voluntary carbon market. Keith Bohannon is here. We built a certification solution for smallholders who have been traditionally excluded from the voluntary carbon markets for payments for ecosystem services. We built a remote sensing model, which can help us to measure the yearly changes in biomass on very small pieces of diverse growth plots. And we use our network as a global agricultural bank to help sell those carbon credits to potential buyers for a very decent price, enabling us to give, and you can't see that there, 80% of the carbon revenue back to the farmer. That is not the profit, that's the actual revenue of the carbon credits. For us, that's really important because what we see is that the only way to make this change to a more regenerative agricultural practice work is by honoring the farmers who are doing the work on the ground. So if you can go to the last slide. What we've achieved so far, we've been operating for almost 3 years. Right now we are in, I believe it's 9 or 10 countries, already helping 25,000 farmers to sell their carbon removal units. There's plenty more in the pipeline that have been making this transition from monoculture to agroforestry. 60,000 hectares are already generating carbon credits, and like I said, there's a lot more. 2 million euros have gone straight to the farmers in the last few years, and you can't really see them, but with this transition we're contributing to many, many SDGs. And so for us this is a key. The additional income from carbon credit sales helps us to finance these farmers to make that transition at the beginning. Thank you for giving me the space. Look forward to your questions later.
Thanks a lot, Emma. And indeed, like a very interesting use case in a very challenging environment, like a very non-digital, remote, rural. We're now actually going to pass to our online participant, to Jason, who's based in Hong Kong and who will share what Ant Group is actually doing to use or to educate the future leaders who shall build solutions for the green fintech space. Over to you, Jason.
Thank you, Gerrit, and apologize for being this massive face on the screen. So I'm kind of embarrassed for myself. But anyway, really honored to take the stage with you all, and apologize for not being there in person. I'm here in Singapore. Just attended the Singapore FinTech Festival, but anyway, unable to travel. Gerrit, should I share the slides on my side, or will that be done?
Yes, can you show the slides for this section? Okay, so Jason, we don't see you, but we will see so continue, next slide.
Perfect. That makes me feel better. Okay. Well, again, thank you everybody, and it's really great to listen in on the excellent work that a lot of our partners at the EAC have been doing and others. My name is Jason Powell, I'm the Senior Director of the ANT Group. And today I wanted to spend just a few minutes to introduce a few exciting initiatives. So if you can go to the next slide, please.
I think this one was the video, so probably slide after. Jason, do you want to show the video or?
Yes, the video should be at the very end. Apologize, it should be slides.
Okay, so then not the video, but the next slide, please. Can you? Okay, thanks. Yeah, we're working on it. Oh, okay, no. I think actually the slides on this one seem to be not in it. So Jason, maybe then we should even show the video to cover.
Yeah, let's go straight to the video then.
Okay,
and then I can
sorry about this.
talk through the rest of it. No worries.
Okay. Let's see whether after a few seconds of buffering whether it gets better. Otherwise, we give it back to Jason.
On what we're doing with the EAC and the GDFA partnership. Ant Group's origins go back to Alipay China in 2004, which is focused on helping to solve problems and bridge trust gaps for society. Our mission is to make it easy to do business anywhere. And our vision is to build a digital infrastructure for the services industry and to help bring small and beautiful changes to the world. And that's really why we're here today, to present what we're doing to make beautiful changes in the green and the blue space. Alipay Ant Forest is a mini program in the Alipay app that encourages users to make low carbon lifestyle choices. Over the last 6 years, more than 600 million participants in China have contributed to the planting of over 400 million trees. We didn't stop there. Earlier this year in June, we launched a new virtual ocean mini program to restore coastal habitats. To date, more than 50 million people have used this program. Virtual green points can now be used to convert into Ant Group funded donations to support marine conservation projects run by our environmental organizations. And you can see the picture on the right, which shows in China on Alipay the actual mini program that we use to incentivize consumer behavior, green consumer behavior that can lead to these ocean outcomes. Another thing that we're happy to announce today at COP27 is 10 times 1000 Tech for Inclusion. It is a training program that we launched with the IFC in 2018. To date, we have now certified over 1,900 professionals from 76 countries and regions. Our focus is fintech training, and our mission is to train at least 1,000 emerging talents and tech leaders each year for at least the next 10 years. We're especially excited today to be announcing that we will launch the Green FinTech mini-series as part of the 10 times 1000 curriculum. As you can see here, we have 3 distinguished lecturers: Michael Sharon, President and CSO of the Metaverse Green Exchange, Benjamin So, Managing Director of Stacks, and our very own Ms. Yan Meng, Global Head of ESG at Ant Group. I'd like to ask you for another minute or so of your time. We'll show you a sneak peek of what this course is all about, and also we're excited to be partnering with the EAC and GDFA to further develop this curriculum and also to get this content and this training into the communities that can leverage it the most. Thank you so much.
Hello, my name is Michael Sharon, and I'm here today to give a lesson in the introduction of sustainable finance and green fintech.
I'm the founder and managing director of Stacks, a Singapore fintech company. It's my great pleasure to be here today to share with everybody more information about how fintech is currently being used for green finance.
It's my pleasure to join you today for this 10 times 1000 lesson on creating green fintech solutions.
As I said, that it's my area of expertise, the financial products and services. And those are your green bonds, your green loans, the products that are actually in the financial system that actually provide the money for that capital expenditure, for changing that business model, for substituting that.
So with this IoT data that is tracking the vehicles, and with data analytics that is calculating carbon emissions based on the driving, the fleet management providers are now able to apply this algorithm to allow the fleet owners to see how their drivers could possibly reduce their fuel consumption.
This is a summary of some of the key concepts in the product design behind Alipay and Forest. I hope this can help you in designing and thinking about your own green products, services, and solutions.
Thank you, Gerrit.
Yes.
That's me.
Thanks a lot, Jason. And I think that's also, quite a very interesting initiative and partnership for us, because we see that the work is really like starting at very different ends, on the user, on the people who have to actually build the next generation's solutions. And with that, going to pass it on now to Tony Ballabriga from BBVA.
Okay. Well, great to be here. Thanks for the invitation. Great to be part of this coalition. And BBVA is a Spanish bank with a strong presence in Latin America, in Turkey. Practically 2/3 of our activities come from emerging economies. And we are recognized as the first mover on digitalization innovation. Our app is recognized one of the best banking apps in the world for several years. And now also we are placing sustainability at the heart of our strategy. We have a commitment to net zero, obviously, and we have also a commitment to mobilize 300 billion euros from 2018 to 2025. And this project, this initiative is under the umbrella of this strong effort, to help our clients in the transition. So what we realize is that at the retail level, we identify the way to say how we can help clients to reduce emissions and save money. And we saw that insight, especially on key behaviors, on transportation and at home, in terms of renewable energy and efficiency and so on. So we decided to focus on key piece on how to raise awareness to our clients, how much their emissions, in order to raise awareness and promote the behavioral change that we want to promote. And then, after that, on that journey, obviously offer solutions, advice and solutions that can help them to reduce the carbon footprint. So that was what we did in our app, in our mobile. So next slide, please. So we work together, obviously, and across a multifunctional team with UX, with sustainability team, with behavioral economics, with data, marketing, everyone to design these specific features in our mobile app, which is placed at the top. And so for each client, we can promote this idea. And then what we have done, so next slide, please, is that after 1.5 years, we have reached 1.5 million customers that are using this functionality to understand their carbon footprint, and starting this journey to help them to change behavior. Okay? In fact, we have this in 1.5 years in Spain. We launched this 1 year ago in Mexico, and in the last 6 months in Turkey, for instance, we have had already 500,000 users. And so there's a lot to do, but this is a good starting point to start a conversation with our clients around sustainability, which is not so easy for a bank. So it has been a key deliverable on our strategy and on our retail business. So that's where we are. And I think we have a video, short video, 1.5 minutes video, that summarize and see this is in reality how it works. So please.
Thank you.
We can estimate it based on your electricity and gas bills and the payments you make with your BBVA card. See the section on sustainability in the app to estimate your carbon footprint and discover how to reduce it and save on your bills. This is your cumulative carbon footprint for the year. It's not that easy to be aware of how much carbon we generate in our day-to-day activities. That's why equivalences will help you get a clearer picture. This is a breakdown of your emissions by category. If you want the estimate to be more precise, you can add more receipts. The more information we have, the more accurate the estimate. Find out what categories you're emitting the most CO2 in. Click on Evolution to check your reduction target, view data for the year in progress, and compare it with last year's data. That will tell you whether you're reducing your footprint. Remember that every impact adds up. To learn how to reduce your footprint, access the Action section and discover ideas and tips on how to reduce CO2 consumption and save. And that's not all. BBVA is committed to sustainability, and we want to present you with a catalogue of products to help you reduce your impact and make your mobility, home, and finances more sustainable. This is only the beginning. Help us create a greener and more inclusive future. BBVA, creating opportunities.
Thanks a lot, Tony and BBVA. Also, good example how you can engage customers like with a very abstract topic as CO2 in a very tangible way. Passing it over to Jeffrey from Delivery Hero and food.
Thank you. So, and thanks again for the opportunity to join and share what we're doing alongside these other really great initiatives. If we move on to the next slide, please. So Delivery Hero, we are a tech delivery company. You probably don't recognize the brand. We are a house of brands. Here in Egypt, we deliver through the brand Talabat. And really what we're there to do is to connect customers to local restaurants and local shops so that they're able to get what they want as fast as they can. And we work with around 1.4 million vendors or 1.3 million vendors and around 1.4 million riders who are helping to deliver. So we move on to the next slide, please. I'm just going to talk a little bit about what some of the work that we've been doing over the last few years around our greenhouse gas footprint. This is nothing new. Companies have been doing this for a very, very long time. But I think what we started on 3 years ago was measuring scope 3 from the very beginning. So it was trying to do scope 1, 2, and 3. And we actually have what we believe for our sector to be the most comprehensive carbon footprint. And no surprise, 98% of our footprint coming out of scope 3. And really what we've been able to do on a market-by-market basis is to be able to drill down and understand exactly the driver of that. We know that it comes from 3 main things. The packaging that the food or the groceries is delivered in, and that's often because most of this is plastic from the petroleum industry. We also know that it's going to be the delivery vehicles and also the groceries that sit within our dark stores. And what we've been able to do is use that data along with research, which is behind the chairs, to build a climate action strategy with science-based targets. So we're going to be making some reductions over the next kind of 9 to 10 years across each of these. And it's not something we're going to be diving into on this panel, but some really interesting opportunities to be bringing a lot of different stakeholder groups together to be able to solve some of these. So for example, our zero emission delivery program is going to be really multi-stakeholder collaboration with us, riders, banks, cities, really to be able to solve solutions that are scalable across the markets. But I just want to take a couple of minutes to talk about customers. So we'll go on to the next slide, please. And we can only try to be as sustainable as we can, but we also really need to involve the customer in that journey. And as a tech company, really what we've been exploring is how can we nudge customers and inform customers to be able to help them make sustainable choices. And what we've been looking to do is trying to balance a range of factors. As we build these features, we really need things that are scalable, that they're going to reach the hundreds of millions or billions of orders that we're processing. But equally, we need things to be locally applicable. One feature is not going to work in every single market when you operate in over 70 different countries. We need it to be affordable. We need to be ideally quickly rolling out, but we also want it to be rigorous and science-based. So a great example of this is our cutlery feature, a really simple tool that we've designed that customers will not get cutlery unless they ask for it. And we've been able to save over 7,000 tons of plastic in 2021 through that. Equally, we've also built and designed in collaboration with WWF a sustainable restaurant certification program where we will measure restaurants on the steps they've taken to become more green, and they can earn a certification badge, which is then shared on the app, and that's then really to help customers know, right, I want to be able to choose to order food from a restaurant that's starting to take steps. We've seen a good level of engagement on that. And there's a few other features that I don't have the time to take you through now, but I think what I want to highlight is that we can measure our footprints, we can develop climate action strategies, but until we bring the customer on that journey with us, we're not really going to be able to have the impact I think that a lot of us want. So I think of just one more slide. It's just highlighting some of the lessons learned. If you, one more slide, next slide, please. Yeah, and I think for those that are working in tech, it's try often, fail fast, and then try again. And that is absolutely something that we've learned on this journey. And I think also end-to-end solutions aren't always necessary. I think for us, what we found is what is the spot in the value chain? And I think the cutlery feature is an example of that. There's other programs that we're working on to replace plastic, but just that simple feature can have quite an impact. So sometimes we don't need to look at whole process solutions. It's just where we are in that bit. But thanks again to EAC for the collaborations on this space. So.
Thanks a lot. And I mean also here a very good example like that a lot of the digital solutions that work on climate and nature challenges always have like a strong link with the physical world, and that there's plenty of ways how you can approach it. So next one, also one of probably our most advanced members in the coalition, MasterCard, who has been quite active and quite focused on the topic. So Malin, over to you.
Thanks so much, Gerrit, and pleasure to be here alongside such amazing sustainability forerunners and change makers. Congratulations to everything that you've done. You should really know that you're some of the very few in the world being able to show this kind of progress at this stage. So congrats, really. So I'm Malin Birch. I lead sustainability innovation at MasterCard. We can move into the next page. Many of you, hopefully everyone, actually the next page, have a MasterCard in your pocket. And what we actually do is that we help unknown parties to trust each other across the globe. And today we connect nearly 3 billion people and 90 million merchants through our network of 22,000 banks. And this is something that has been built for the last 50, 60 years. And we're really a trusted network provider, a technology company in the payments industry. Looking into next page in terms of how we view our sustainability work at this point, of course it starts with minimizing our own footprint. Now, MasterCard is not a company with a huge carbon footprint. We, as many other companies here in the room, have our largest emissions in scope 3, 78%, but it starts there. So obviously we do have a net zero commitment towards 2040. We have integrated that towards 22,000 employees, compensation frameworks, etc., etc. The most interesting opportunity for MasterCard, of course, comes when we start to activate this network role that we have. Our network that is connecting these 3 billion people has really no value in terms of climate action if we don't activate this network. It's about what every one of the 22,000 banks are doing and the 90 million merchants who meet the cardholders every day. So we really work to mobilize action across our network, and I'm going to share a couple of those initiatives today. And the third leg in our sustainability agenda currently is really to enabling individuals. And we can do quite a lot from ourselves internally, but it's really to equip the network with new solutions of innovations as well as execution to the market. On the next slide, we have just one of the early innovations that we've been working on together with sustainability forerunner from Sweden. And in the audience today is actually the CEO of Economy, Mattias Wikström, who elegantly, together with his team, a few years back developed an innovation called the Åland Index solution. And what Åland Index does is that it maps every transaction for a cardholder with a carbon footprint. Change mic. Let's see if this has a better stability. Can you hold this for me? Thanks. So we can move into the next slide and look a little bit about how can a Swedish innovation be integrated into MasterCard's offerings towards 22,000 banks across the globe. These are some examples of what our financial institutions who have retail customers may be able to offer their retail bank customers today. And I really want to emphasize this role of sustainability innovators, forerunners, startups, and even big companies deploying new innovations that can be put onto a global network such as MasterCard. It's not necessarily the major priority for us to drive all the development internally, but really finding the best solutions that are the most advanced, responding clearest to the trends that we see in the marketplace, and bring them in a partnership to further take to our customers. And on my last slide today, I just wanted to highlight, of course, some key initiatives in terms of how we then mobilize our banks for climate action. Many of you are already engaged in our Prices Planet Coalition initiative. This was something launched 2 years ago where we set out on a restoration target for 100 million trees by 2025. And this is just one of many examples of how can you activate your role if you have such a network where it's actually the multiple businesses reaching the hundreds of millions and the billions of users that can drive this collective action together. Finishing off with another initiative that we've made very recently to try and stimulate this agenda a bit further is the launch of our Sustainability Innovation Lab. So based in Stockholm, we now have a global Sustainability Innovation Lab which works as a catalyst to find the next sustainability-centric solutions that we can bring onto the network. Because as I said, it's not about MasterCard deploying every and all product that can help to drive climate action for a payment tool that we all use every day, but we can distribute that towards our customers and towards consumers in our ecosystem. So every and all in this room is actually invited because we partner with banks, with merchants, NGOs, governments, civil society in doing this together. And some of the friends that we have for the Sustainability Lab you can see on the final slide, and that's what I'm going to close with today. Thank you, Gerrit. And I actually had a good news for you. I realized you said EAC is not present in Latin America, so that's a gift I can finish with. With MasterCard, we welcome EAC also to Latin America, and we can offline talk about how we activate that role.
Very good, very good. Thanks. Yes. Thanks a lot, Marlin. And I hope it gave you like some good glimpse. And I mean, still like we are scratching just on the surface still. I mean, it's a journey for everyone. But now we are opening the discussion. So both like with the panelists, with you. So please also, if you have questions, feel free to raise your hand. And then we are willing to include you.
Before we open it, I also wanted to just say thank you very much. To me, this and the guide, it is a compendium of a very contextualized, contextualized approaches to sustainability. And this, again, is not focused on your internal Scope 1, Scope 2 initiatives, but about empowering individuals in very different contextualized ways. And the key question I wanted to ask you is, you had to iterate along the way, each one of your business models, and focus also on key collaborations. And I wondered if you could just speak a little bit about that process, because it wasn't a streamlined, easy affair that you can cut and paste. And I just wanted very briefly a brief word from each of you about that contextualized and collaborative approach, because I think that's very essential, and that's also the mantra of GDFA and also of the hub here. And then I'll open it to questions. So if we could just start with Emma, please.
Well, thank you very much for the question. I fully agree that nothing happens unless you work together. So for ACORN, you can imagine reaching smallholder farmers from a Dutch bank perspective is obviously very difficult. So we've been working with very strong local partners on the ground who've been able to really form healthy, long-standing relationships with these farmers, NGOs like Solidaridad, farmer cooperatives, Farmstrong, Caderes. But that's one group. Then, of course, we've been working with Plan Vivo in the voluntary carbon market certification arena. A lot has to change too to offer access to the carbon market for this group of people that has been historically excluded. So partnering with Plan Vivo has been a game changer. And then we have to work with governments, of course, which is one of the key reasons to be at COP27. We probably have heard about the Article 6 discussions. That's a really important topic of governments also collaborating with the private sector to mobilize finance that can actually go straight to the farmer. And of course the buyers on the carbon market side are important, but I think those first three are really the key players to make this happen. Very grateful to be working with all of them.
Thank you. We do have Jason online, and we'll go to Jason right after you, Jeff, if that's possible.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I think collaboration is absolutely kind of the key for delivering a lot of these solutions. I mean, just to look at the work that we've done with sustainable packaging, you know, we first had to understand what type of packaging would fit the standards that we wanted to be putting out there. So that was a lot of work with the vendors, with the packaging providers. But then speaking with our restaurants, well, the restaurants in Europe will have one view in terms of what they need, one set of packaging types or product structures. Very different what we found in some of our Asian markets. So actually that was a learning for us. We found one type of packaging, tried to put it into Hong Kong market, and the Hong Kong restaurant said this isn't going to work. So, and then also a link to the riders. So the riders need to understand, well, does the packaging work right? Is it spill in their bags? So it's highlighting that we even if we think that we've got a great solution, it's actually not road tested, literally, until you start working with some of those people.
And not a one-size-fits-all. So that's really important. I think we have Jason online. And Jason, again, the question is about just the context and collaborations that are really important to these different initiatives. And if you just have a word or two about how it's iterated for you over the last while.
Yeah, thank you. I think we believe that technology platforms, I think we all know, really have the capability to reach large numbers of individuals, consumers, merchants, to B and to C, and also to G. And I think we really need to start, and we have been thinking about how do you leverage technology to deliver good. And in that case, it is an ecosystem approach, because platforms have the ability to reach out to so many different parties. And so that is a core part of who we are at Ant Group. I think it's a core part of a lot of the colleagues sitting in their chairs today. We call ourselves Ant Group because, you know, together, ants are strong. They're small, but they're strong. And so how can we leverage technology to really empower that? Innovation is a big part of our story, and I think it's also a lot of part of your stories as well. You're only going to get better if you try by doing, and then if you take the feedback from what your partners are telling you as well. So as you saw from both of the initiatives I discussed earlier in the video, they are all partner driven, and that's frankly how we prefer to be as a business, is partner driven. Thank you.
Well, thank you, and we really look forward to working with you further, especially on the 10 by 1,000. So Malin, if you could also just speak about some of the contextual elements that you touched upon.
Thank you. Yes, I'll share one thought about the business model perspective and another one on how to activate the collaboration in a bit of an unconventional way that we're testing out. So in terms of business model, I think MasterCard is one of a few companies who might not necessarily need to change the business model per se. And why I think that is that we're a trusted network provider. We allow unknown parties to trust each other. And in exchange of that trust, we earn a very, very small fee for every transaction. And the proliferation of transactions that we expect when the circular economy grows, when the service-centric retail grows, etc., product as a service and more, we believe it's a huge magnitude of transactions growing out of that. So I think the more we lean in, the more we support the sustainability transition, and we are an enabler in that, it's actually a long-term stability also in terms of our business model. Now, the unconventional part that I wanted to share as an invitation and perspective for those who join us today is one of the ways in which we activate our network through the Sustainability Lab. So parts of my team is working on R&D, really deploying new solutions, but parts of the team is also looking at how can we activate the leaders amongst the banks that we are partnering with. So not only have we deployed something that we call Labs as a Service, where we bring development teams to our customers to help with the implementation of the carbon calculator as an example, but we also bring them actually either virtually or physically to Stockholm for sustainability safaris, where leadership teams who might not have got together in this way at all in this capacity, because sustainability goes so much across the organization, they get together for 3 days and get an immersive experience with education, provocation, inspiration, where they meet scientists, VC, etc. And the concrete activity that I want to share is a way which we work with futuring. So researchers at Stockholm Resilience Center have deployed future scenarios taking place in 30 to 50 years from now. And the participants get to listen to these scenarios and activate empathetic listening and work with backcasting on those scenarios. Because if this is where we need to be in a 1.5 degrees lifestyle or in a world in line with the planetary boundaries, where do we then need to be today? And this is an experiment with the C-suite from some of the world's largest banks. They are leaning in, they are very curious, and I look forward to see what results that might give to also provide the full access to all the scientific data that is already there. Some perspectives.
That's brilliant. I mean, we here at the Hub and at GDFA are all about systems perspective and future casting, and also that contextual sort of end-to-end approaches. And I think that's a really unique example of how we can bring that cross-sectoral collaboration and learnings together for that systemic future casting perspective. Anthony, I'm going to ask you the same question about collaboration and context.
No, I mean, a lot has been said, and I fully agree that we see innovation and collaboration that are two concepts intrinsically linked in both ways. So we have to collaborate to innovate, and that's what we have done. For instance, in this solution, we have partnered with an NGO called ECODES in Spain, providing the insights to ensure that we have the right metrics, the right assessment, and so on. Also, we partner, for instance, with Iberdrola, a renewable company, to provide a new value proposition to our clients. So we need to collaborate to innovate. But I think we have also to innovate to collaborate. We have to think outside the box, how to collaborate differently. And we see that climate change and sustainability in general is a great territory to explore new ways of collaboration, even with your peers. So that's the reason why we have collective initiatives like the Nature Ranking Alliance, where we have worked together for stronger commitment, and we have been working together, also developing methodologies, how to affront this challenge collectively. So it's not only partner with NGOs, with your clients, with your suppliers, but it's partner even with a certain way with your competitors, to define the way to affront the systemic change that we need. So I would say collaboration to innovate, but also innovation to collaborate.
Thank you very much. Very, very excellent. I wanted to spend the last few minutes to open it up to a question that's burning here in the audience as well, and maybe one other very brief questions, please.
Yeah, this is Mohammed from Egypt. I'm Chief Innovation at the second largest governmental bank in the country. Actually, it's a double question for Emma and Antonio, as as adaptation problem. My sense is that we are very excelling now in inventing technology, finding artificial intelligence to measure reductions, satellite image for culture, agriculture. But when it comes to adaptation, specifically in an emerging country like Egypt, when we are suffering illiteracy at the agri side, how we can push such technology for the crop producer, and again for the CO2 calculator part, is it just an informing or you incentivize your customer to use? How you push? These my main questions about adaptation.
Thank you. That was a really great question. One of the main challenges that we're dealing with as well, because we work with smallholder farmers throughout the globe, mainly in the global south, getting them to have access to any digital environment with hurdles like low literacy is a very difficult one. So we really work with strong local partners who are able to help farmers form cooperatives, and there they can learn from each other. So really have a trickle-down information system that allows us to bring the key message to the ground without making it too complex. So really work with high literate farmers who have access to digital means, who can then teach all of their peers, who can then pass on the message. So sort of pyramid system. This for us is one of the key success factors for what we're doing, because if the farmers don't understand how this can help them, then they will not make the transition to agroforestry, to regenerative agriculture happen. So thank you for asking the question. It's a really important one, and one that we're actively partnering on many layers. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, we are far where we should be. I mean, less than 2% of the private finance goes to adaptation. So really, we are far from... But the reality is that the narrative and the business case is not well defined yet, and we have difficulties in translate this in a use cases for our clients. No, it's a long-term perspective. It's a question of avoid some costs instead of creating add value at front. So it's more difficult, no, than energy bills. That's the reality. So, but we need to work on that. We are also already providing some solutions for certain markets, for corporates, but not obviously at the retail level. I think that, we need in this COP and the next COPs, we need stronger commitments on adaptation. Let's see if the Glasgow Pact of the $40 billion are going to be depleted or implemented. But the point is that we need to work more closely with the governments on this issue, because only with the private sector is not going to be solved. And so, yes, there's a challenge. There's no solutions yet. And there's a question of the narrative and the time frame, which is completely different. No?
Thank you very much. We do have another question in the audience, and then after that we'll have to come to a close. Go ahead, please.
Thank you so much, and thank you everyone for the wonderful
Please
presentations.
hold the mic closer and introduce yourself.
Can you hear me now? Is this better? My name is Prabhakar Vanam. I'm the CEO of KCIC Consulting. We provide incubation. We are one of the largest incubation centers in Kenya, provided support to over 2,000 plus enterprises, creating over 18,000 plus jobs. Now the question is, thank you for the fantastic panel and the fantastic presentations. We have farmers, we have SMEs whom we have been helping them in creating sustainable livelihoods. Now we are in the business of creating value to them, be it SMEs or be it the farmers group. Now carbon credits has been seen as one of the avenues where we can really enhance the value proposition to the SMEs who are doing business within the agtech space, within the renewable energy, within the water sanitation, as well as in the commercial forestry space. Now we would like to seek your indulgence in designing an innovative program to help the SMEs in Kenya to come up with some carbon nestings or carbon credits, or
I'm sorry, could you just repeat that last part? You're looking for support for SMEs in Kenya.
We are looking to support, to design a program to help SMEs in Kenya to help take the carbon credits so that their value is enhanced. Thank you so much.
Aggregating the carbon credits or finding use for them within your business models.
I can share experience. Well, SMEs, in certain countries, obviously, technology is there, and you can save money. if you put your solar panels or so. The business case is clear, but obviously SMEs has a very short time frame, no? So when you can say you can get the payback in 5 years' time, it's too late. They want to have cash back significantly in a shorter term, no? That's what we have seen with SMEs, no? Having said that, it has been very useful to replicate what we have done at retail level also for SMEs. We have in Spain a carbon footprint calculator on the website that are for SMEs or for enterprise. And 200,000 clients has entered to discover what is their footprint. And thanks to the Next Generation EU package, which is a big package supporting on renewables and so on, we have linked all together, no? Creating a journey that at the end of the day scale up, no? But it's true that with SMEs, the challenge we see is not only awareness, but there's also this time framing, no? You have to, the investment you have to do, you have to have a package on financial that they pay the same invoice for the next 5 years, and the savings will come later, but they don't pay more now. So you need to complete the game with also with some financial institutions, playing that part, solving this problem of SMEs. No, that's the experience that we have.
Well, thank you. I think we'll continue this dialogue. Emma, I wanted to give the last word on this to you as well.
Yeah, I appreciate the question, and of course what we do is we work with smallholder farmers, but we see that the business case for getting certified is quite complex. So starting more of a cooperative, especially if you talk about renewable energy, can really help to cover the cost of certification. I saw that Keith had to leave, but if you really want to help SMEs, making them work together, form cooperatives, with those cooperatives, go to a certifier and really look at certification solutions to cut the costs there, I think is the first step.
Thank you very much. It's step by step indeed. I just want to thank all of you and Jason online for coming and participating on this today. I think it's really been enlightening to see the multifaceted ways that we can actually have enable individual action through your institutions and through the digital platforms that you have. And I wanted to just give the last word to Gerrit to just remind us about the guidebook and about EAC.
Thanks a lot, Katherine, and also from my side, thank you to everyone. As said, today was really just a snapshot of what the members are doing. Please try to look it up. We shared the QR code before, but also in the video recording, you will still see it. And then next year, we will be also opening this up to really invite more contributions. We will also go deeper and deeper, and also push our members to share more and more practical insights, so that also, especially organizations that are maybe not as big and well-funded, can actually follow their example. So, therefore, thanks a lot, and hope everyone had some food for thought, and we're also looking forward to your feedback. Thank you.